Hello, good evening and welcome to the Little Farmer's Farm with me, Guru Murphinda. Once again, we're down on the Poly Tunnel and it's stopped raining for a change. So the task for today is to fit the gutter fascias, the fascias that the gutter is attached to, and also get the window frames in for when we get our polycarbonate windows for around the sides. So I'm going to crack on with that. Okay, it's a little bit tricky, but it's doable. All right, so I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so as we saw yesterday, what we did was we built out from the board, which is the sort of mid-level board that goes round. That's going to be the top plate of our guttering. When the sheeting gets applied, the sheeting comes from off the bars and then goes over this rounded 2x1 at the front, 2x1 timber at the front, which, as we saw yesterday, is slightly lower than its two compadres at the side of it. That comes out just over 2.5 inches now, because it's in the metric rather than the imperial. That's an imperial 2x1, and those are the metric. They're slightly smaller. So when you piece those together, that comes to about 2.5, just over 2.5 inches. And you get three together like that. Now the reason that the outside one is lower is so that when the rain comes off the sheeting, it goes over and it drips into a gutter that we're going to be affixing there. Now the problem is that the gutter needs something to fix to, and that isn't wide enough. If I'd have thought ahead, I'd have used like a sort of a 6-inch or even an 8-inch board, but I didn't because I'm thick. So instead we're going to have to attach another board underneath. So in order to do that, we need to get the framing in anyway for the windows that are going to be going here. So we're going to kill two birds with one stone, and I've already started to do that. Now you need to have some upright timbers for, if you like, the extra boarding, the fascia boarding, to fix to, like that, underneath. So I've put in those 2x1s. Now to get the 2x1s in, obviously the baseboard is it's less than 1 inch thick. So I've got to build that out, which I have done. Now that's a imperial 1 inch, and that's the metric version of it. Okay, so the imperial is probably about 24-25 millimeters, and that's about 20 millimeters, if not less than that. But we want to come out so that we're missing these bars. So the upright tubes for the polytunnel, the trampoline straight bits, they've been hammered into the ground previously, and that's what we've run the actual tubes from to create our hoops, or half hoops, for the tunnel. So I brought that out so that it's a little tiny bit proud or further forward than the actual upright tube is, and therefore we can continue on afterwards and box that in. But the whole idea of today is that we get that frame in and give the fascia board something that we can screw into. So I've done those two now. I'm just going to complete that now, because they need to be pieced together, those two bits of timber, the imperial and the that's decking board, as you can see with the ridges on it. So the decking board and the 1x4, they need to be pieced together to bring that depth out, to bring us out where we need to be. So I've measured the distance that we need to fill, and the distance is 115 centimetres. I keep flitting from imperial to metric, but I'm crazy like that. But that's 115 centimetres. Now, because they're both going to be going on to fill the gap, what I've done is I've screwed them together. So I made sure that they're all flush and tight to each other, and I've screwed them together so that when I make my cut, I only need then to use some longer screws to fix the panel in. Because it's been raining off and on, I thought I'll do what I can inside, the majority of it inside if I can. I'm just going to follow that line now with my jigsaw and cut that, knowing that that's the correct size, and then it's just a matter of putting some more screws in, ready for when I take it over to where it's going to be installed, and then just fire the screws in. I'll show you. Now when the weather's inclement like it is today, that's the wise man's move really. You do as much preparation as you can indoors, so you're only flitting outside to sort of do a measurement and to install it as you can. So they're fixed together. All I need to do now is using my jigsaw, I need to cut that along that mark. I'll miss the screw, don't worry about it. And then that's ready then. They're ready, drilled in or screwed in to a depth that it's just going to be a matter of seconds to complete the installation, if you like, by fixing those screws through to the existing timber. You can hear that rain, I hope, now, and yeah, it's been like that off and on all day. Heavy showers every 10 minutes or so. Now what you'll also see on the back is that the decking board is a couple of centimetres deeper, or wider if you like, than the 4x2 by 1. That's a good thing, because this side is the side that will be facing the weather. So as the rain comes off, it'll drip off the bottom of that rather than creeping back and rotting the wood behind. So that'll preserve the wood that's behind. This is all treated wood anyway, so it's got a bit of a guarantee on it against the weather. It'll last a decent length of time. It's all going to be painted up as well before the sheeting goes on. So yeah, it's just a matter of preserving that wood. We're just going to be, because it's already treated, it's pressure treated, what we're going to be doing is just applying a couple of coats of sort of a Ronseal fence paint to it before the sheeting goes on. That's probably going to be done next Friday or something like that. We're going to be doing the sheeting either Saturday or Sunday, depending on what the weather conditions are like, because you don't want it wet and you don't want it too windy. It'll stand the cold. It's a horticultural grade sheeting. It's obviously not the deepest pits of winter, although when we did this it was the deepest pits of winter. It was January when we sheeted this, and that's still pretty stable and sturdy and not too saggy and baggy. But yeah, that's just something to bear in mind. Obviously when the weather gets warmer, it does tend to relax the plastic a little bit, but this is good quality sheeting that we're getting. It's the diffused horticultural grade sheeting for extended growing seasons. That's what we're going to be getting. Okay, so making sure that it lines up with the back plate. That's split that wood there, but it's all going to be all right. We'll just take that out, and it's going to be covered anyway in a bit. Don't worry about it. That matches up with that. I've put a fix through there at that end and at that end, and all I need to do now is send those 3 more screws through, and what that'll do is it'll close that gap up that's there, make it sturdy and stable, and Bob's your uncle. And that's it. I mean, apart from talking to you, that would have took me about 10 seconds to install it outside in the rain. So I'll crack on before I get pneumonia. Now, to get our 2x2 boxing in, these, we measure the distance then between here and there, and I have, and it's just on or just under 2 feet. So I'm going to measure them out, and I've done both sides, they're both the same, so we must have done something right. They've all been 2 feet basically along there, or just under 2 feet. So what we want to cut is 2 feet, so there'll be a smidgen, a little tiny bit longer than the actual gap, but only a smidgen, like a 1/16 or maximum an 1/8 of an inch longer, so that you can persuade them in. So that means that when you put this into that nook, you need to knock it in a little bit, and by knocking it in a little bit, that's held tight under its own steam, really. Then, under the pressure of the wood being a little bit tiny bit too long, it holds it in under its own steam. And then all you need to do then is fire a couple of little screws at a 45-degree angle, so that it goes beneath the wood, 45-degree angle, so it's not standing proud, into the wood that it's being attached to, top and bottom. And that'll hold it in place, because we're putting the fascia board on top of it. That'll stand it proud, it'll do the job, it'll hold it in place. When that fascia board's on, again, that'll give it extra bracing, keep it in place where it needs to be, etc. So we're going to do that now. I'm going to cut two 2-foot lengths of that 2x2 and install it into the... Just to make sure that those are a straight right angle cut, by the way, we're using this small square. Put that square against the wood, make your mark, and Bob's your uncle. Yep, just need to be sawn now with that. There's our marks. Cut. Cut. Okay, so what we want is for the fascia to continue underneath that. So obviously we fitted our 2x2s recessed so that you've got enough room, you've got enough room to fit your next piece in, and that'll go there. So I'm going to fit that in now. They're all in, all the all the 2x1s. So that's what we're going to be fixing the fascia to, those 2x1s. So in order to see where they land, I'm just going to mark the centre points of those 2x1s. If you haven't got a set square, by the way, you can always use one of those, which is a saw. That's got like a straight edge on it, a 90-degree edge on it. So you can use that and just draw your line with that, and that gives you your 90 degrees. Just a little aside, most saws have them on. They're designed that way. Most of these like long wood saws. So yeah, there's another little tip for you. So there we go. The gutter fascias are in, and the window frames are in. Also, those are bar supports and further stability for the framework. And Bob's your uncle. So obviously we need that bit. We need that depth there, and that's the depth of about 6 inches. Or just over 6 inches in depth there, so that this end can be just underneath where the lip is, where the drip lip is, and then as it runs down to the other end, it's going to fall off by a couple of degrees, because we'll need that. We don't want it straight and level, we want it to actually fall away, so that the water will drain towards where we're going to be putting our butts, our water barrels down there. Now, a couple of you on the last episode did suggest that I sink them into the ground, so I bury them a bit into the ground. I am, but I think we hit the bedrock about 14 inches or something like that down. I'll go down as deeply as I can with them and bury them at the back here, bury them in at the back. And it'll be like a sort of semi-submerged well then, won't it, at the back. So, yeah, these water butts, I've got 3 at the top there that are doing nothing. So I'm going to put 2 or 3 into here. And they'll be like wells then. You'll not be able to get the taps on them, but you'll be able to delve in with your watering can and draw the water that way. I'll come up with some sort of solution to cap them off, to put a lid on them in some description as well, I think. And then the water will go into a small pipe at the end and drop into them like little wells at the back, tucked away, out of sight and out of mind. But yeah, so those are in. I just need to do the same on that side now. That's took about an hour to do, but I've got to get off because I'm waiting on the sheeting delivery is supposed to be coming today, and the lady farmer's been in, but she's got to go out to work now, so I've got to get back, and I've got to get some dinner as well because I've had nothing to eat yet today. But there you go. Okay, so that's it behind me. I've been Guru Murphinda. This has been The Little Farmer's Farm. You've been beautiful, fragrant and fantastic if you're a lady. You've been strong, virile and masculine if you're a man. And yeah, catch us next time for more fun and japes down here at the old Tiki Tunnel 2 build. It's coming together. I'll have all of the framing done on Friday, so it'll be ready to receive on Saturday and Sunday. We're just hoping that we're going to get still, relatively warm, hopefully, weather, but certainly not wet and blowing a gale. We don't want that. Cold, wet, blowing a gale. We don't want that. So we can do more. Get it there for the lady farmer. Right, okay. Catch you later. Have a good rest of the week, and I'll see you on Friday. I'm working tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday, so I'm doing 3 days this week, and then on Friday, Saturday and Sunday I'm off again. So yeah, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye bye, we love you all.